to get your collar pressed. Time to get yourself all dressed. Time to get your shiny dance shoes on. Cause everybody's jumping at Jax. All the kids are coming down just to dig the swingin' sound. You can hear the band from miles away. Cause everybody's jumping at Jax. Here's a little well-known secret. Sure as there's the sky above.
Nothing could be any sweeter
than dancing with the one you love. When life is like a sour note, here's a happy antidote. Come to where the party never ends. Cause everybody's jumping at Jax.
Hey everybody, welcome to Campus JAX. You know, there's no better room to hear an incredible big band than this room right here. It's my opinion anyway. So I'm glad you're here to enjoy it with us on a Thursday night. We call this Steamers Jazz at JAX because we're a continuation of the Steamers Club that was in Fullerton for all those 22 years. Carrying on the legacy of Terence Love, who can't be with us tonight, but I'm sure he's watching from wherever he is, and he'll be back, I believe, in 2 weeks. But, you know, we've got a stage full of spectacular, exceptional musicians right here. I mean, if we were to add up the credits to this group that's on this stage right now, first of all, it'd take us about a year. It'd be probably tens of thousands, not just hundreds. But, I mean, this is an all-star cast. And it's led by an all-star legendary drummer. If you were like me and you grew up with the Brian Setzer Orchestra, who was that? Right? And also, boy, for many years with Gordon's Big Phat Band, you know those guys and some of these guys. So without further ado, would you welcome our newest friend here at Campus JAX? It's the BBB featuring Bernie Dressel.
He got the name right. Thank you very much. We're happy to be in Newport Beach. This is a rarity for us. When I first moved to Los Angeles in '83, soon after I started playing at the Studio Cafe in Newport Beach. Have you ever been there? That's what it's called, right? Yeah. With Bobby Redfield, with TBA, with Gordon Goodwin and Eric Marienthal, Tyrone Anthony, Vince Denham, a lot of great Orange County musicians that I got to grow up playing with down here. And now I live near the Dodgers. Yeah. So it's fun to be back here again. We played over at Segerstrom Hall, the outdoor concert series they have about 5 years ago. So we're so thrilled you all came out here tonight that maybe they'll have us back again. Yeah. All right, so that first tune you heard was from the album, it's called The Pugilist, the title track from the album called The Pugilist that we recorded during COVID, where we're all fighting through those times, trying to stay alive, not trying to play with any musicians. We recorded that whole album, everyone in their own home studio. So that was quite difficult to punch through those times and make music. And now, that was what, our third album, yeah. And then the fourth album, which is the newest one called Number One Son, which that was the title track, Number One Son. And these were both, am I right? These were both written and arranged by James McMillan. Yes. So thrilled to have some great writers in the band, like James. And who did we feature on? The Pugilist, Derek Pyle on the trombone. Yes. That's the longest solo in the BBB book. 2 minutes. 2 minutes, yeah. And I think that's the only solo on that one. And then on the next tune, which was Number One Son, that featured Tom Lure on tenor saxophone and Chris Berg on the trumpet. Chris is of age, so I think this is not a 21 club, right? So you could tell them your real age here. Buy him a drink to find out that's his age. Yeah. He plays with Herb Albert now, so we're lucky to have him here tonight. Yeah. All right, we're going to continue on with the tune off of The Pugilist again, called Lulu's Back in Town. Francisco Torres on the trombone. Brendan Wilkins on the tenor saxophone. See, I told you, Orange County crowds are the best crowds in the world. I told you that. I know, I just told Francisco. I didn't tell anyone else. All right. Are you seeing the albums behind us? Yeah. I usually have to go, here's the new album on vinyl that we recorded to, number one son, that we recorded to tape in Hollywood at East West. See, there we are. Can you see that double gatefold? We record, so it's usually, you don't record to tape anymore. Bob Wackerman, when's the last time you recorded to tape? Okay, but it's pretty rare. So this was the new thing about this new album that we did, Number One Son. What's falling here? Oh, something fell out. Oh, you get a little postcard with the album. Look at that. Good value. Yeah. But we'll be selling them at the table there on your way out. In fact, none of you can leave until at least saying, I don't want to buy one, Bernie. I don't want to. Let me out of here. Then you can leave after you say that. Or you can get one. We have CDs there, and we also have Blu-ray audio if you have surround sound speakers. Or even, what do you call it? Immersive audio, 9.1 we recorded and mixed that way. Okay, we're going to continue on with another tune from Sentimental Journey. This is going to feature the arranger of the tune, Brian Scanlon. He's going to play a little soprano, but his solo is, he'll switch. You'll see it. Like the tech will come in and hand him the alto. You'll see it go down. Yeah. And this is called Sentimental Journey. Brian Scanlon. Uh-oh. Now, if you see my behind the drums, you can't see behind the backstage stuff that goes on backstage. I throw charts when I'm done with them, or the first 3 of 8 pages. They're all in a pile back here. But I just threw the next chart away. There, now I have it again. All right, we're going to continue on. We're going back to the Pugilist album, and this is anyone remember a young singer who was in a little boy band called Michael Jackson? Remember him? He wrote many good tunes, and this is one he wrote called Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. This is arranged by James McMillan, and it's going to feature, people love James. Some of his friends even call him Jim. Yeah, I've seen it. Is that a plane taking off? Or is that John Wayne Airport? Is that easy to fly out of? Yeah, I never fly out of there. It's just too far, usually, yeah. I usually fly out of El Paso, Texas. Have you ever flown into there? There's a good shoe shine there. I recommend a guy there at that airport. All right, this is going to feature quite a few people in the band. This is called Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. Much better than Tito. That featured Grant Geisman on the guitar, Tom Lure on tenor sax. Who else was that? Alex Budman. Who else did we have on there? Brian Swartz. Not Schwartz, Schwartz. Schwartz? It's Schwartz. No, that's what I said. I have a lisp. And the composer, the arranger, not the composer, James McMillan on that wah-wah bone. Now that did feature Grant Geisman kind of playing it cool, but this one, he's going to really take over on this one. This is off number 1, Sun. And this is called G Squared Boogie, because he's Grant Geisman, G squared, playing in the BBB. He's guitarist Grant Geisman, GGG, actually. And this is a composition he wrote and arranged. All right, take it away. Gigi, Grant Geisman. Gigi. All right. Have we played anything off Burn, Burn, Burn yet? I don't think so. That was our second album we recorded at Capitol. We're going to do a ballad now for you lovers out there and you lovers of the baritone saxophone. I know there's some. Show them what that big Barry saxophone looks like. Show it to them, Glenn. Oh, my God, look at that thing. Fred McMurray would be proud. Your son, who is here tonight, is very proud. He flies a fighter jet, I hear. Right? I tuned his drum set when he was 10. I don't know how old he was then. 11. Okay. Now he's not flying that new F-47 that just came out yesterday yet. He says he's not flying it. We also have a baritone saxophone player in the house, a youngster that goes to Los Alamitos High, that is the son of a guy who worked a lot with Brian Setzer. He was on the crew, really great guy, Mark Miller, and his son, baritone saxophone player from Los Alamitos, Henry, is here tonight. Give it up for Henry. We also have other young guests in the crowd. My wife is the band director at, what's it called? Carmenita Middle School. There's a lot of Carmenita fans here. That's not that far from here. There's students and faculty and administration and parking enforcement also is here from Carmenita. I think they're here. Let's see. We got D&D. Danny's over there, plays lead trumpet in the jazz band there. Wave to your fans. Yeah. Is Dante here? Dante is here. He's the drummer in the middle school band there for 2 years. Carmenita. You ready to come play Rock This Town? You want to play that? We don't know it, though. That's the problem. You guys know it, I know. All right. Dante's not sitting in tonight. Maybe next year. We'll have him sit in. All right. Did I forget any youngsters here? Any other young instrumentalists here tonight?
Yeah, who's on bass? Who's your bassist?
We have a bass player here?
The guy behind you. Who is he?
Oh, I haven't introduced the whole band. But see, I keep him behind me because he's very good looking, as most bass players are, I would think. Don't you think, Melissa? Yeah, most bass players. That's George Stiapovich on the bass. Now, that's upright bass, but he's back there slapping it too, like a rockabilly style. What's the name of the band you play in? What's the name of that? Yeah, they're very famous. I can't even remember their name. Tiger Army. Check them out. They're like really aggressive rockabilly trio. But he's here tonight because he heard Orange County crowds are the best in the world. Yeah, okay. All right, well, we're going to continue on with the baritone saxophone, roundabout way to get back to. This is a tune off of Burn, Burn, Burn called, that's my hair there in that picture. Can you see it? It used to look better back when we recorded that album. Okay, this is called Early Spring. Glenn Berger. I like that song. By the way, that was written and arranged by Brian Williams, former Orange County staple, played in the Disneyland band for how many years? Lots? 30? I don't know, but he just left Orange County for Nashville. Boo. But he's happy there. They got a house for 1/10 of the price, I think. Okay. All right, we're going to continue on with a tune made famous by Dizzy Gillespie, I think. Who wrote it, though? It wasn't really... Yeah, Dizzy and Chano Pazzo. But this was arranged by... Is that how you say it? Say it. Francisco, how do you say it? Poncho? It doesn't say that on here. Pozo. My wife has Mexican heritage, but I have Polish heritage, as you can tell. Anyway, Jeff is not here tonight. He was going to be here. He's played in Orange County many years. And he's okay, but he got in a car accident last night, late, and the car flipped over upside down. He got T-boned, he and his wife. They had some cool car that's really good for crash ratings, and I think they're in pain, but they're okay. Thank God, they're okay. But Jeff decided he better rest his hand that got kind of messed up a bit. So tonight, he would be soloing on this too. Who's this going to feature? This is going to feature two guys. Oh, we got Tom Lure, and Brian Swartz on the trumpet. All right, this one's for Jeff. Yeah. Oh, we got to send a video out to Tony Bonsera. It's he usually plays lead in the band, splits lead with Dave Richards on the trumpet. But Mike Campagna is here tonight, splitting lead. And Tony's in Australia. Poor guy on his birthday. He'll be with us. Tony's back with us. We're playing this Wednesday. If you can't, this wasn't enough music for you, you can come up to Vibrato, Herb Albert's Vibrato. This coming Wednesday, we're playing there at 7 o'clock. Tony sings with the band. He sings a couple of numbers. Mike, do you want to sing? I've never asked you if you sing. You do sing. Oh, we're going to have to... This could get dangerous, though. All right, this is A Night in Tunisia. Oh, but we got to send Tony a video. Yeah, it's his birthday. Brian Swartz, Tom Lure. All right. How you guys doing? Should we keep playing a little more? A lot of times we do 2 sets. That's why I'm looking down going, this is usually where we're coming to an end, but we still got a little ways to go here. We're gonna feature Alex Budman on alto sax on a tune called Tie No Suit, written by G. Richards and D. Richards. G and D. One of them's Dave Richards, the other's his brother. Yeah. Do you remember who Dave Richards is? Lead trumpet. Lead trumpet. Pay attention. Pay attention. Well, maybe it's a good time to introduce the whole band, right? You want to know who the good-looking guy behind me was. So let's start here. Chris Berg. Keep the applause coming. There's 16 guys. Dave Richards. Mike Campagna. Brian Swartz. Derek Pyle. I'm in the trombones now. Francisco Torres. Did I say it right? Did I say that right? Special guest tonight. He is a special guest. He doesn't usually play with us. All right. James McMillan. I already introduced Dante and Donnie. He's also a special guest. I can't think of your name now. Isn't that lame? It is pretty important, the bass trombone. Paul Nelson. But you look like, you confuse me, you look like the piano player that plays here a lot with Jet Set. What's his name? Do you know Jet Set? Chris Barron. You look like Chris Barron a little bit. He's a little better looking, but you're a little better bass trombone player, I'd say. All right, who else we got here? Glenn Berger on the Barry. I was talking with vocalist star Rose Colella in the audience tonight. How, as a leader, like you're up here trying to play, you're trying to talk, you're trying to remember your best friend for the last 20 years' name, where your wife works, you're trying to remember these things. It's difficult sometimes. I'm just thinking quarter note, quarter note, quarter note, quarter note. All right, who else we got? Did I say Tom Lure? Tom Lure. Brian Scanlon. Alex Budman. Brandon Wilkins. Grant Geisman. Yes, on the Flying V. That's a Flying V. Does it really fly? Why does it fly? Okay, it's a Flying V. You don't see that in jazz ever. Is this jazz? Sometimes it's jazz. We try to hide the jazz a little bit so people like it. George Stiapovich on the bass. And I'm your drummer, Bernie Dressel. Isn't that something? That is something. Okay, this one's a 8-pager. You're going to see a lot of pages flying on this one from me. Is that exciting when I throw the charts? It's really exciting when I throw the one that's next. Okay, this is called Tie No Suit. Off of, well, you'll see very soon, right? I think they're keeping track of the albums behind me. This is off number 1, Son. Alex Budman on the alto saxophone. Grant Geisman. Caravan. Mark Miller, are you still here? There you are. You're close there. I thought you were in the back where I was. You were getting some drums there. They were worried about who was sitting there. Yeah, they were really worried. I said, don't worry. They'll move if they hate it. Do you remember that tune? Yes, we won a Grammy with Brian Setzer with that one. However, that one we just twisted it around a little bit with a Louis Bellson arrangement too, and made it a little bit. We've never recorded that one. That one you can't buy unless you buy a Brian Setzer Orchestra live, or Vavoom, I think it was on. Yeah. All right, we're going to continue on. We're going to feature Grant some more, but a little different vibe, a little cleaner guitar sound, right? Isn't it cleaner? I know. Does that Flying V play clean? All right. Let's find out. This is called You'd Be So Nice to Come Home To, and this is arranged by Dave Richards. Yeah. Cole Porter wrote it. Cole, not here tonight. Not here. All right. And another featured soloist we'll talk about later. We'll talk about that later. Grant Geisman on the guitar. Brian Scanlon on alto saxophone. Keep it up. Keep it coming when there's 4 soloists. Come on. Yeah. There it is for Brian. There it is again. There it is. Yeah. James McMillan on the trombone, laying down the time. And Paul Nelson on the next to the last bar. Right? Didn't he have that? Yeah. He had a little and a 2 solo there. All right. All right, we got a time for a couple more. Do you want to hear a couple more? I don't know if we have time. Do we? Okay, you tell me when we should stop then. All right, we're going to do a tune off Burn, Burn, Burn. And this tune is actually called Burn, Burn, Burn. And it's going to feature an instrument my wife plays, the clarinet. Yeah. She's not going to play. She's had too much wine tonight. Right? Maybe not. She's ready. Alex, you ready to hand it off? All right. She played on the album Burn, Burn, Burn with the Los Angeles Clarinet Choir. We had like 12 clarinets playing instead of Benny Goodman, and sing, sing, sing. This is Burn, Burn, Burn. And this time, we don't have 12 clarinets here, but Alex plays like 12 clarinets. That could be good or bad, right? Okay. So you decide if it's good or bad. Audience, tonight in Orange County, Newport Beach. All right. This is called Burn, 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 featuring Alex Budman on the clarinet, and also Chris Berg on the trumpet. And more than that, it's going to feature the floor tom. So enjoy the floor tom with the calfskin head. Calfskin head. Yeah, it is. It really is. Alex Budman on the clarinet. Chris Berg on the trumpet. Bernie Dressel on the floor tom. Wow. All right. We're going to do one more. Now, this one, it's off our first album. When we first started playing, we played at Cafe Cordial a bit. And then we, in Sherman Oaks. Then we started playing at a place called Joe's Great American Bar and Grill until COVID hit, and then they never reopened. But we recorded, this was our first album, Live and Burnin', that we recorded to vinyl. And it's a double album, recorded live there. You can hear Vicky screaming on it some of the time, if you get the album. Oh, by the way, none of these albums are on Spotify or Apple Music or Tidal. Because, you know, it takes a lot to record these with 16 musicians. And I don't see just giving it away to, I give it away to you, but it's the companies making all the money from their subscriptions. So I don't like putting it in those places. So people can buy the album, except the brand new album right now is on Apple Music and Tidal and one other one. What is it? Oh, Evil Spotify. And the reason, as I said, I'm not doing it, is because to try to get a Grammy Award, you have to have it on those services, which the record companies own. Isn't that cool of them? So I probably will pull it down after we don't win a Grammy. Yeah. So you could hear just the one album, the new one, Number One Son, or you can hear clips at the website soundscapesmedia.com, or you've heard some of the tunes here tonight. You can just buy it here, and there's no shipping. Okay, what else could I tell you? Yeah, this is going to feature Chris Berg on the trumpet, Brandon Wilkins on the tenor saxophone. You get a little taste of Grant Geisman up front, and maybe I'll do a little drum solo. Oh, yeah. See, people, I told you, Francisco, they like the drums and the trombone. Yeah, they do. All right, thank you for coming. Thank you for Campus JAX, Steamers Jazz tradition here at Campus JAX on Thursdays. And glad to be a part of it. And we hope to come back. Would you come a second time? Oh. What if we quadruple the cover charge? Would you come then? Ah, I see how it is. Okay, we won't. I mean, we'll come. We just won't go. It'll be the same cover.
featuring Bernie Dressel. Come on. Let's hear for these guys.
Thank you.
Wow.
Stand up, you guys. Stand up. Thank you. What time is it? I want to, but I think.
Hey, so I don't know, just from being in this room tonight, it's like you can just by osmosis receive like a graduate music education, in my opinion. But I don't think, I mean, when do we get a gathering of musicians like this on this stage at one time? Not that often, so I don't think we can stop yet. Are you with me on that? Now, I've heard it said that you really can't buy it, but if you could, Bernie, you know what?
You can't buy what?
If you could
Love.
buy it.
You can't buy love.
That's what they say, but if you could, and if you're selling it tonight, I'd take
not selling love.
I'd take a truckload of it.
All right. Well, we are selling the albums back there.
Well, if you can't buy some love, then let's get some albums. But is
Thank you, everybody, for
what are we
coming.
gonna do right now,
Thank
Bernie?
you.
What's
Well,
up?
We'll do one more, unless you got to go home. You like bed here, right?
So
You
let's
like
one more
going to bed?
time for these guys. The BBB featuring
All right. No.
Bernie Dressel.
Do they really want? I don't think they want another one. Oh.
Well, wait a minute. Wait.
Okay.
Here's
One more.
Here's how we figure that out. We've got this right here.
Will you have us back again? Do I have your word on it?
You've. Let's fill this jar and bring you back. No, let's send these guys home with
All
some
right.
gas money. Let's do this. I'll walk this thing around. Bernie, take it away, man.
All right, this
Thanks
one-
again for coming out, you guys. Campus JAX live music every night. And you know what? Get home safe. Come back often. Thank you.
All right. This one's called Love for Sale. Thank you, everybody. The BBB. Good night to you all. Thank you.